Well, now let's see. Yeah, looks like it's about that time to get some stitches in this thing. I already got one needle locked on. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the other one. And let me show you how to do this real quick. Or kind of quick, or you know. First thing I do is I put the thread through the eye of the needle. Bring that on around. Put it on my work surface. I like to make a little divot with my thumbnail. And pull the thread through the needle. Or push it. Well, you get the idea. Pierce the thread with the needle. And pull that down, pull it down, pull it up. And pop it over. And it's locked on. Now, I'm going to start here and go this way. Because I don't like to stop my stitches at a stress point, and I figured this will have the least amount of stress right here. That's the way I did this one, and it's been working for years. So I'll start right here. And you can see, because I took such care making sure these holes lined up, that it just goes right on through. I'm going to waller it out a little bit with the needle. Even these up. And off I go. Now, because I pre-punched my holes, oh boy, need more light on this side. Here we go. Well, basically, I can just stitch, but because I punch them, what happens is the leather tends to close up a little bit. So to make stitching a little bit easier, I go ahead and wallow the needle around in the hole a little bit, just to stretch it back out a little. Take my second needle and go over top of that first stitch. Give it a little tug. Ah, and I can see I pierced it. That's why I tug it. Because if I don't, that would be a totally complete pain in the rear. What the heck did I do? That's a totally complete pain in the rear. Alright. Here I am. But, you know, I'll go ahead and I'll leave the camera running, because mistakes can be made. Little bit of a boo-boo, but it's easy enough to fix. There you go. I can get back to what I was doing before I got back to what I did. Before I got to what I did. Yeah, you get the idea. Pull it on through. And just snug it. Don't have to strangle it. Just give it a little bit of a tug. And you're good to go. But most importantly, to make sure that that's a good looking stitch line, make sure you're doing everything, or rather you're doing the same thing for each and every stitch. That way you'll get a nice, even, aesthetic stitch line. Well, I'm going to keep at it. And I'll be right back when we get just a little bit further along. Just thought I'd switch camera on for just a second. Now, you saw as I was going out, I was putting the second thread on top of the first thread. But now that I've come around the corner and I'm coming back toward me, I'm doing it the other way around. I'm still going in first with my right hand, waller around a little bit. But the second needle, the second thread, is going under the first thread. And in doing that, I'm keeping the same kind of stitch line all the way around. I don't know if you can really see it, but it has a little bit of an angle, and the angle continues up here. So I'll just continue with that. Give it a little bit of waller it a little bit. Second needle goes under the first. Give it a tug, make sure I don't pierce it. Pull it on through and snug it. Okay. I'll be right back and we'll go ahead and finish this up. That's that side done then. And you can see how I intended it to just meet up with the stitching that I did before here and here. So basically it looks kind of like one continuous stitch going all the way around. Well, now I'm going to go ahead and do this side, and once this is stitched up, we can go ahead and start molding this thing. Yay! Isn't that exciting? Well, maybe not that much. So we'll see you when we get to molding. Oh, I already did my back stitching and I cut it off and melted the ends. So this is done. And that's why I like to put the end stitching or the back stitching at a point where I think there's not going to be that much stress, because even though it's good and solid, there's still that slight chance that it could pull loose. And I don't like to take even a slight chance on anything like that. Well, anyway, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and do this part, and I guess I'll start from there, stitch toward myself, and then away, and then go ahead and mold this thing. See y'all around. That's got the stitching done then. Let me get my light over here. Still a dreary day out here, but it's all stitched. And before I go any further, I'm going to take my hammer and beat the crap out of it. That helps to flatten down the stitches. Actually, makes the stitch line look better, I think, and it helps to close the leather around the stitches, making it, well, stronger. That's the thing. I don't like the idea of drilling holes, because you lose that. When you punch holes, the leather will close back around the thread. It'll actually grip the thread. If you drill it out, then it's just like, you know, dropping it through a hole. It doesn't do anything. Yeah, it's easier to stitch, but the idea is, like, I don't do this because it's easy. If I wanted to make it easy, I guess I could just use a machine. Punching the holes takes a bit more, and in fact there's people that say that you shouldn't even pre-punch your holes because it doesn't work as well as punching them as you go. But in fact, I'd probably punch them as I go were it not for this hand. Anyway, that's got stitching done. Next up, we're going to wet this thing and mold it. That's the exciting part. Because it starts looking like a holster instead of a flat thing with a design on it. Okay, we'll be back.